So I fully realize that what I'm about to say probably isn't the usual way to start a homily, but I'm going to ask you to stick with me, and with God's help, I know we'll get where we need to be. So that being said, I will let you all know that after Christmas, having done all the masses, including the midnight mass, then getting up the next morning to do it all over again, I was really tired. I actually found myself falling asleep on the couch at my family's gathering on Christmas afternoon. Friday was a day full of events and errands, and so when yesterday morning it struck me that I had to prepare a homily for this weekend, right, that I had to write the very homily I'm preaching to you now, I was like, uh-oh, right? It snuck up on me. Because usually after I write a homily for a big mass, right, for Saturday evening or Sunday, I have an entire week until I have to prepare another big homily. But with Christmas being on Thursday, it totally threw me off. Here's the tough part, though. Because of everything on my plate the last few days and being so tired, when I looked at the readings, nothing jumped off the page. I felt totally uninspired, which interestingly enough rhymes with tired. Uninspired, tired, right? So I did what I'll do from time to time when I get writer's block, which is to go into my computer and my database of homilies that I preached at previous parishes and dust it off, preach it like it's new. But I struggled to find one that I hadn't preached here before. So I tried really, really hard to come up with something to say, something to be appropriate on this feast of the Holy Family, something inspiring, something just right, but nothing came. So then I actually started considering preaching a homily that, well, some of you would have heard before. For the first time in my priesthood, I actually thought to myself, well, I hope everyone slept through it the first time several years back, so it'll seem like new this time around, right? And as you might imagine, a little while later, I began feeling uncomfortable about that idea of just recycling, so I stared at the readings again. Still nothing jumped out, and I began to get so incredibly discouraged. Again, all I wanted to do is be able to give you an inspiring message that would be able to encourage families and teach them how to stand strong and follow in the footsteps of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, the Holy Family we celebrate today. So I sat in my chapel feeling so defeated, wanting to just give up. But at the same time, feeling almost sick to my stomach because I felt stuck. I knew that I couldn't just give up, because in less than 24 hours, I would have to stand here and have something somewhat sensical to say on Sunday morning. Nothing was coming. I didn't know where to turn. And suddenly, it hit me. I realized that sharing this exact story that I just told you, this raw, real, honest story about struggling because I wanted the whole thing to be perfect, but it just wasn't happening, I realized that this experience that I had, in a lot of ways, resembles what so many families experience on a day-to-day basis. Who here doesn't want their family to be perfect? Who doesn't want everything to come together in a storybook way? Who doesn't want for other people to be inspired by seeing the way that their family lives? Well, parents don't feel stuck at times, feeling like they don't know where to turn, like they don't know what to say to their child that's going through a hardship, yet knowing they have to say something. What parents don't sometimes try to find an easier way to get by and simply survive some of the harder moments of raising children. What parents don't sometimes just pull an old trick out of their bag of parenting skills because it worked before in the past. And what parents don't have moments where they feel sick to their stomachs about things that are happening in their families. What parents don't at times want to just throw their hands in the air and give up, but know that's not an option, yet have no clue where to turn. And the thing that I realized as I sat there feeling helpless in my chapel is the fact that life can sometimes be daunting, sometimes feeling impossible, yet in the midst of the hardship, there's no pause button, no way to slow things down. But you know what there always is? There's always Jesus. I think a big part of the problem that I was having was the fact that the gospel reading that we're given, the one in which I was trying to find some nice, inspiring thing to say about it, it simply gives details about a really tough situation and difficult circumstances that Mary and Joseph had to get through with Jesus. It's not pretty. It isn't the warm, cozy, picture-perfect nativity scene that we had at the start where the baby was first born. We hear about their fleeing to Egypt. Things are raw, they're getting real. Not only are they being exiled from their home and forced to relocate, the whole reason this is happening is because someone wants their son dead. And even once they're ready to come back, they were fearful about going to certain places because they knew it wouldn't be safe. My guess is that most parents can sympathize with trying to protect their children from harm, even if it's not on the same level of the grave harm that Mary and Joseph were saving Jesus from. At the end of the day, the reason why I'm telling you all this, right, is because my stress and hardship, it stemmed from the fact that I wanted to give you a beautiful, peaceful, heartwarming story about the Holy Family. Because I think that's what we subconsciously just sometimes imagine the Feast of the Holy Family to be. A time to reflect on the lives of this amazing family that is so holy and have it all together. But if that was the message, it would fall flat, because that's not our experience of family. It would have no connection to us. The bottom line is that family life is hard. Sometimes it's hard. And then in the other times, it's really hard. And sometimes we feel stuck. We wish we had an answer, easy solution to problems. And when we're really, really struggling to know where to turn, it's in those moments that we actually most perfectly resemble the Holy Family. They struggled. They had hardships. They feared the safety of their child. They had years where things didn't go as they would have expected. So right now, I want to completely and utterly shatter any idea that you might have that involves a Holy Family as being this family set up on a pedestal that had a picture-perfect fairy tale life. The thing that made the Holy Family holy was the fact that it had Jesus. It had God right at the center of it. The thing that makes the Holy Family worth emulating is that they had struggles just like us. And when the most brutal and horrific of situations arose, they knew that Jesus was in their midst. Jesus was right with them all throughout their years in Egypt. Then during Jesus' hidden life in Nazareth. Our tradition teaches that Jesus was right at Joseph's bedside when he passed. Finally, we know that Mary remained at the foot of the cross as Jesus went through his passion and death. The thing that made the Holy Family holy wasn't being saved from harm. It was being with Jesus in the midst of the struggle. My dear brothers and sisters, the struggle is real. And we can all want our families to seem perfect, just like I wanted to give a perfect homily. But the thing the Lord put on my heart yesterday morning is that even if things don't go as you expect or like you'd want them to, that so long as you remember to bring Jesus into the heart of it, you have exactly what you need. In order for you to have a holy family, you don't need to be perfect on the outside. Nor do you need to do a whole lot of things that you might feel that you need to do or that are expected of you. In order to be a holy family, you don't need your kids to achieve certain things or to talk quieter in public or not blurt out embarrassing family secrets, or whatever other deficiencies you might perceive in your children that you feel puts a weight on your shoulders that you just don't know how to be relieved from. In order to be a holy family, you simply need to ensure that Jesus is at the center of your life as a family, to let Jesus lead the way. Like Mary and Joseph did, you need to eliminate anything and everything that is a threat to the life of Jesus that dwells in the heart and souls of each of your family members. You need to take huge strides to ensure that Jesus in them is given a place and a home to grow and to thrive. So right here and right now, I want to throw out any notion whatsoever that you have that says in your mind that because of any set of circumstances, struggles, difficulties, current wounds, emotional baggage that you have from the past, throw away any notion that says that because of any of those things that your family can't be a holy family. I am telling you right now, it is precisely because of these things that you have the opportunity to follow in the footsteps of the Holy Family from Nazareth. They were holy because in the midst of every situation in front of them, they held Jesus tight. They did everything they could to ensure that the life of Jesus continued to live and to allow their hearts to be in union with him. So the big question that I want for you to ask yourself is this: have I done everything I can to hold Jesus tight, to keep him alive in my heart, and to flee from anything that would kill his life within me? And do I strive to do everything I can to bring Jesus into the lives of my family? Ask yourself these questions. Be honest with yourself and make whatever shifts and changes you need to help your family receive deeper holiness and live out that holiness each day. That, and only that, is what makes a family holy. So again, scrap the idea of a picture-perfect family, and instead just rejoice to have Jesus as a member of your family right in the middle of the unknowns and the unexpected twists and turns, right in the middle of the mess. That is how you have a holy family. And that is truly how in the end, after a lot of hard work and perseverance, how at the very, very end, your family will live eternally, happily ever after. I'll cap it all off by reminding you again that even from the start, things didn't go like Mary and Joseph would have planned. There was no room for them in the inn. The only place they ended up was in the stable with Jesus in the manger. That wasn't an ideal situation at all. Yet it's the scene that we look at every year that brings us peace and joy. We look at this and think, wow, yes, the nativity scene. This was chaotic and imperfect. Why does this bring us peace and joy? Because Jesus is right at the center of it. But then super quick, before they knew it, they had to pick up Jesus from the manger and bring him with them into the next less than ideal situation. My dear brothers and sisters, right now baby Jesus is here in the manger. But before you leave Mass this morning, I want to ask you at some point to close your eyes and imagine yourself picking up the baby Jesus and then carrying him out with you to wherever it is that you and your family are heading. Take Jesus with you and never, ever let go.